All right. Good morning, everybody. Shakti, would you do the introductory slides, please? So welcome to Empowering Conversations. And let me quickly tell you, now that you're here, what is the purpose of Empowering Morning Conversations? The purpose is that all of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory. You reflect on it. Isn't that what you really want? You do. So to help people have a life of ease and joy and glory, we come here every morning to help you shift from the survival mode to the create mode. So I call it the default mode. I call it the mode in which only our habits are automatically driving us. So we want to shift from there to creating a life that we desire. Okay. The interesting thing that we've discovered is that the moment you stop creating, then you get into what is known as the rut. Yeah. So there is just an automatic way of living and nothing new is happening in that. Then we are dissipating all the negativity that we pick up all the time from other people and circumstances. This is about becoming possibility seekers rather than complainers and increasing our focus and energy. And how do we do this? By various things that we are doing to remove all the barriers that you have that do not allow you to live a life of ease, joy, and glory. So today we are going to talk about something called generosity. So it's a nice word, and many of you know this word. And this word brings up all kinds of, what shall I say, reactions in many people's minds, right? So start thinking, the moment somebody talks about being generous or the state of being in a state of generosity, what does it bring up? So what is generosity? It's a lot like unselfishness. So maybe generosity is the opposite of selfishness. Okay. What is generosity? Showing generosity is a person who is happy to give time, money, food, or kindness to people in need. That's who, it's a person who has generosity of spirit. So generosity is a quality like honesty and patience. So that's what I wanted to talk about today, generosity. So the moment I use this word and the moment there is an implication that we can be generous, what is the thought process that happens to you? What if you were generous? Then what? You may be already very generous and listening a lot about your generosity from other people. Or you may want to be generous and you hold back for some reason of your own. But let's start with the moment if somebody asks you to be generous, or you just think about generosity itself, something comes up in your mind. What's that? Yes, Neeti.
It's a feeling of abundance.
The moment we use this word, a feeling of abundance comes up for you. Beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay. Somebody else?
Being open and giving something which is needed by the other person without any expectations.
Okay, that's what it opens up for you. Yes, Shanti ji.
Good morning, sir, and good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Generosity is the happiness you get when you are receiving, the same happiness you get when you are giving.
Okay, so that's what comes up for you.
Yes.
All right.
So selfless.
What's that?
Selfless.
Okay, that's what shows up for you.
Yes.
Okay. Hasina ji and Gurunandan, you're saying something?
Exactly what Hasina ji said. Selfless while sharing anything and everything in need of the person whom you find. So selfless was the word.
Oh, wonderful. I want you to, all of you, not only Gurunandan, to think about someone you know who is very generous.
The other word that comes for me is peace.
Okay, when you think of generosity, the word that comes to you is peace.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Thank you very much. So the next thing which I'm asking everybody is, I hope everybody heard that. Think of someone who you know is very generous. And how is that generosity of that person visible to you? I mean, what does that person do?
I got two names to my mind. One is Mother Teresa and other is Bhagat Puran Singh.
Are you talking about my great grandfather?
Yeah, Bhagat Puran Singh, who was in Amritsar and who took care of a lot of needy people who were mentally retarded also and who were, in need. They didn't had anything and they were on roads. So he took them to his ashrams.
Okay. So that's, so you not only mentioned who he is, but what he used to do. So
Yeah.
we call him generous. Okay. What about a little more ordinary people whom you know, who may not be celebrities like this?
I can think of my father.
Okay. And why would you call him generous?
Because he was very cognizant of the needs of people around him. And he, if anybody needed anything without even thinking about himself, he would, make sure that the other person is looked after. None of us knew it, but when he passed on, there were hardly like a few hundred rupees in his account because he had just helped people out and given people, in whichever way he could. So he never had like a thought that, oh, I need to accumulate wealth, I need to do this. It was just like about other people and what he could provide and give to everyone.
Okay. So what does that bring up?
Compassion.
Compassion?
He was very, very compassionate.
Yeah, okay, I got that. But what I'm asking something slightly different. Now, he's a member of your own family was very generous and compassionate and all that. Okay. And what did you all think about him? And what did you think about this generosity? Sometimes you look at someone and you say, okay, I'd love to be like that. Or you look at someone and say, okay, that fellow's a foolish guy. I don't want to be like that. I better make sure I don't do that. So what is that, number of things we will be evoked in you, right? Thoughts and conclusions or whatever it is, or beliefs. Are you getting what I'm asking, Rashmi?
Yeah. Yeah.
And let's not go into what we think now. Okay. Those days when you used to see this happening, what would you think and what would people be saying about it also? Like family and other people.
I think everybody really loved him because, he didn't have like, I will help this one versus that one. There was no, he was, not partial about who and how and what. He was just so.
So that's where your generosity comes from. Yeah, we inherit certain qualities and traits from our parents, don't we? All right, somebody else. Think of somebody in your family or otherwise whom you know who's a very generous person. Yes, Neeti?
So I think I receive a lot of generosity every time I'm talking to you, even by way of casual conversation, because your choice of words are such that it sends my troubled mind into a spin of possibilities and makes me look at the brighter side of everything. So that is a huge takeaway I get when I am in conversation with you, even on a general topic on a phone or even when not in a session. So that is the generosity I get from your words, from interacting with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Neeti. And look at so many others that might be there. You understand? See, it takes one to know one. Some people would notice a thing like that and some people would not. Okay. But I'm saying there may be so many other generous people around who we may have met, or maybe we did not meet them. Right? The reason I'm asking this is that different people have different understanding about, this generosity. Like people are judging everything, right? Even there are people who will judge other people's generosity. I mean, it's fine for Mother Teresa to have it or Puran Singh Ji to have it because they're not in our family, right? But someone, you look at what comes up for you. I believe that people are normal and naturally very generous. When we were children, did you notice that we were very generous? We wanted to share things without any bias. And then came a time in life, even to share with your own siblings was a challenge. So what happened to the natural generosity that we have? Now, for all those who are wondering why we are talking on this topic, I'll tell you in a little while why we are talking about it. So let's ask Neeti, why do you think we are talking about generosity this morning, Neeti? Make a guess.
So as we are talking, I think my understanding of generosity is changing and growing. It is not only in materialistic or physical giving and sharing. It is also an emotional or a psychological content and a care that you receive calls for generosity. My entire understanding of the word generosity is growing today. Being with somebody, talking to somebody and getting so much of their attention, and that attention itself is a lot of generosity, I feel today.
All right.
So the entire word is taking on a new meaning for me.
That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Neeti. But I'm asking a different question. My question is, why do you think we are talking about generosity today?
So because our association with generosity mostly has been with giving money or helping with some kind of a material thing rather than non-material, non-monetary items. And we associate generosity more with a different person away from us rather than imbibing it in our own lives and our way of being. And I think that is what you want to convey today. That is the feeling I'm getting from your words.
Okay, very nice. Thank you very much. Yes, Reddy Garu.
I'm connected with allowance.
Okay, allowance is also an act of generosity. Okay, very nice. Thank you very much. Allowance is granting beingness to something, and you say it is the way it is, and you're not judging it. That's the ultimate generosity, If you're expecting something, you cannot be in allowance. If you're judging something, you cannot be in allowance. right? So that's a very good one. Okay. Any other reason we might have for discussing? I mean, why is generosity so important that we are talking about it this morning? Yes, Rashmiji.
Because it's a part of living a joyful, abundant life. And it is all of everything that Niti shared, and about the allowance. It's understanding that this is to be, and generosity is also about generosity of spirit. It's also about, I still feel like it's compassion towards yourself, compassion towards everything around you, everyone around you. That itself is also generosity. And if you allow that to be, the natural state is that of joy.
Good, great. Thank you so much. Yes, Shanti ji.
If we want to remain happy, we should allow all the other people around us also happy. That needs generosity.
Okay. Very nice. Thank you very much. Okay. Anybody else? Why do you think we are talking about generosity today? What's the purpose of talking about generosity? Come on, guys, exercise your brains a little bit.
Sir, on a lighter note, we have been asking people to be on time, but they are not generous to us.
Okay, that's one way of looking at it. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so listen, I know one thing, that we all stand for a life of ease, joy, and glory. And before I tell you about why I am talking about generosity this morning, and before I tell you more about it, I want to tell you a little story which many of you might have heard. Okay. So there's this person who dies. Okay. And when he dies, now God gives him a choice. Says, I'm going to let you decide whether you want to go to heaven or hell. Okay. So this guy is a smart ass, so he says, definitely, sir, how can I choose unless I know what is what? So can you show me a trailer of both heaven and hell? And then I'll choose which one I want. So God takes him to hell. And there he sees that there is this huge table and there is so much food there. I mean, all sorts of very tasty food. And there are a whole lot of people around that table. And they're all behaving like animals and fighting with each other, trying to snatch and all that. The reason is that the left hand is tied behind the back. And on the right hand, there is a spoon, which is around 4 feet long. Okay. So it's very difficult to take the food from that using that spoon, So they're just fighting with each other, eating food with their mouth and all that. It's a horrible scene. So I don't want this. Show me what's happening in hell, in heaven. So they go to heaven. And there also he's surprised to see there is a huge table with lots of food on it. And people around that table with one hand tied behind their back and the other hand has a long, spoon tied to it. But here the people are eating food very peacefully. And I know that you know the answer. Why are they eating food peacefully? Because they are very generous and they're feeding each other. So like I said, generosity is the opposite of selfishness. And that's why we are talking about it. Because we can have a life of ease if we stop behaving, somewhere coming from there is not enough. if I give away so freely, then I won't have enough for myself, etc., etc. So here we are craving for abundance in our life, and abundance is having more of the flow of energy coming in freely. Believe you me, I was attending a program with Access and this money question came up, all right? So the facilitator tells me that you are maintaining comfortable distance with people, so you're blocking the flow into your life. And I didn't get it, all right? Then he started to talk to me about 5 elements of intimate relationship: honor, trust, allowance, gratitude, vulnerability. And the biggest question that popped into my life, into my mind was that if I'm busy judging, then I cannot receive. So if we are not being generous sometimes, okay, what is the dominant emotion over there? That if I give, I might lose something. What we don't understand is that if I am having generosity of spirit, I will gain everything. So generosity of spirit is when I think we look at things from a completely different point of view. So there is a point of view we have of interacting with the world and being with people and about giving and all that. And it's a completely different point of view that we can look at. So what is the gift of generosity? It's not money. It is the energy that you be and the gift of contributing to someone else's life and somebody's world. Now imagine that you are generous and you want to contribute to someone. And let's look at it from both sides. You as a receiver of someone's generosity and benevolence, and you yourself being generous. So if you're not generous, will you receive somebody's generosity? Have you noticed that when sometimes people are trying to be generous with us and very kind and giving to us, some of us become very suspicious that why is this person being like this? What does he want? क्यों इतना अच्छा बन रहा है हमारे साथ? So even to receive generosity that might be available in plenty in this world, you have to be generous, no? So what is it? Generosity? It's not money, it's the energy that you be and the gift of contributing to someone's life and someone's world. And being willing to believe that people may be wanting to be generous with you. That people may not be wanting to damage you. People may not be wanting to pull you down. People may not be interested in making you feel wrong. Now, if you are being generosity, you will be actually happy for people who have money and abundance. Okay, normally, sometimes we are not. Okay. And if you're being generous, it even invites more money into your life. Why? Because giving and receiving happen. See, when we give Reiki to someone, or if you're giving an access bar session to someone, you will see that you are receiving more than the person who's receiving that energy from you, because the energy has to flow through you to go to somebody else. So as you're gifting, you're also receiving. And when you are giving, it is a gift to you which is equal to, or maybe even more than what you're giving, what you're receiving back. It reminds me of an old song where it's about money. तुम एक पैसा दोगे वो 10 लाख देगा. So for the purpose of today's session, I want to invite you to look at different ways in which you can gift people kindness. Okay, there are so many different ways we can gift to people energetically. And believe me, it's not all about money only. And when you start giving energetically, when you're giving people kindness, so, you will actually start to see that even changes the money flows. Why? Because it takes you out of the cocoon in which you live, We have created this fortress inside of which we live. And when we start being generous and we become kind to people and we start giving, we'll have to come out of that fortress, We'll have to become vulnerable, even to give and to receive. So it will change your money flows because it takes you out of this protective shell in which we live. And it breaks down the walls that you have erected, which keeps you from receiving the abundance of the universe. So just remember something, having money is about receiving. And let me tell you something, gifting from no point of view other than gifting is one of the greatest ways to increase your own receiving. So if you're interested in receiving, perhaps you can practice the art of being generous. Okay. So I don't want to say too much about it. I have said what I had to say. I hope you heard it. Now, after having heard it, what action points are emerging for you? I mean, in what way can you be generous today? Forget about tomorrow. Forget about what you did yesterday. How can you be generous today? Yes, Reddy Garu. One of the most generous people I know is Reddy Garu.
Sir, good morning. For me, deep listening is the best one, sir.
It's one of the very powerful acts of generosity. Yes, I agree with you completely. Yes. And one was Reddy Garu. Who was the next person? Hand was raised. Before I could notice it, it went down. Was it you, Kunen? Yeah, go ahead, Kunen.
Yeah, very good morning, sir, and all. On thought coming, sir, when I be generous, automatically I start feeling of expectation also from others.
Then
So,
would you call that generosity?
no, but how to deal with this, sir?
You tell me, you have any formula for that?
No, by
Just-
default it comes.
It does come. I agree with you. I mean, I can only share with you when it comes to me. I notice it. Like you are very fond of using, I'm also fond of using the word awareness, so when we are aware, okay. So when I become aware that I'm expecting something, look, immediately I'll say to myself, okay, listen, nobody asked you for your generosity, Subdeepak. You're being generous because you want to be generous. All right. There are people who come and ask me also. Like there is an orphanage, they frequently ask me for money and I happily give it. Okay. I have no expectation. Okay, but somebody else asks me, sometimes the expectation comes. First of all, let us not even judge the expectation. Okay. But notice the expectation. And whenever it comes to me, the expectation, I say, okay, bhaiya, you are the one who wants to be generous here. I'll give you one example, all right? A couple of people who will approach me and say, okay, I want to meet you and this and that. Okay. So I will always ask them what for. And they'll say, I want some advice from you. So I will take them, I may even give them lunch or dinner, whatever. And I will even spend a good amount of my time, which is a valuable time, I think. Yeah, because I have to travel to some place and then spend time, everything. And those people So that time, when I've given that suggestion or an advice, I have an expectation sometimes that at least you follow the advice. No, I've spent so much time in giving it to you. And then immediately I noticed, okay, listen, Sudeepak, you gave it because you gave it. You didn't even ask money for it. Okay? तो अगर तुमको शौक है फ्री में बांटने का, तुम बांट रहे हो, you are a generous person. Now, whether they want to use that advice or not, that's up to them. Na? They never promised you कि हम जो आप कह रहे हो हम करेंगे. So then the moment you notice it that it's your expectation, you can drop it. Na? See,
So
it
got
is fair to expect if somebody promised you something. If they never promise you anything, why are you expecting? Okay, na? Now, if somebody asks me, I first tell them, listen here, if you're going to make me waste my time on you giving you advice, you will follow the advice, otherwise don't come to see me. I don't have time. There's a friend of mine I know, when anybody wants to talk to her on any kind of advice, she says, "Pehle 2,500 rupees bhej do, then I'll talk to you." So I asked her one day, I said, "You are such a generous person, why do you ask people for money?" She said, "I don't want to waste time with people who are just talking to you because you are freely available. So I want only serious people to come and talk to me." So that made sense. My first thought was I should also do like that. Then I said, forget it, yeah, I don't need to do that. If they are not taking it seriously, that's their problem, not mine. No? So the moment you notice that you're expecting, you can drop it. One very interesting thing happened for me, Kunen, I'll share with you. When I am able to drop it, I am able to even request and demand things from people. पहले क्या होता था मालूम है? I would never ask anybody for any favor. They'll, I used to think कि मैं बोलूंगा ना तो they'll say, देखा, his generosity was only ढकोसला. Actually, he wants something for me. That is why he was helping. So I would never ask anybody for any favor. Thinking, it's like a payback I'm asking from people. So it's a very interesting thing. When you really start becoming generous, you will notice you'll go through a lot of spaces. And we are all discerning people, right? We can make the choice. So I believe that being generous or not generous is a matter of choice, not a matter of decision. Okay, so that's how I would answer you. Yes, Rashmi, you wanted to say something?
No, while you were talking, I just remembered what my grandfather used to say. He would just say that "Neki kar darya mein dal." He would just say that.
पर अक्सर होता नहीं है ना, हमसे नेकी करके जो कुनैन साहब बोल रहे हैं, एक्सपेक्टेशन आनी शुरू हो जाती है, मैं इतना कर रहा हूँ लोगों के लिए, उनको भी मेरे लिए कुछ करना चाहिए. I believe that maybe it diminishes the receiving a little bit when you do that. So coming back to, in what way can we be kind to someone today? There's a very beautiful song which Abhinav is also very fond of, and I'm also very fond of. Raj Kapoor sang that song in one particular movie. कुनैन साहब बहुत बढ़िया शायरी है उस गाने में. किसी की मुस्कुराहटों को ले उधार, क्या किसी का दर्द मिल सके तो ले उधार,
जीना उसी का नाम.
किसी के वास्ते हो दिल में प्यार, if you have love for someone, right? I think the state of love is where we are automatically very, very generous. You've noticed that when you really have deep regard, love for someone, then you drop all your judgments and expectations and everything. There is a purity in that, right? That's why some people say God is love, God is compassion. So in what way can you be kind to someone today? In what way can you be generous to someone today? In what way can you energetically gift to someone today? So think about it. Very interesting thing to look at is that in what way am I curtailing my natural generous spirit? I believe it's very natural for us to be generous. So in what way can you be generous today? Ladies and gentlemen, like to hear a little bit from you on that. Now this is the action point, right? This is the call to action. What energy, space, and consciousness will you be today that would allow you to be in a state of generosity? And what actions will show up because of you being generous in this world today? See, you can be generous right now, right? By opening your mouth and speaking, that would be an act of generosity too. जब आप अपने विचार अपने अंदर ही रखते हो and you're not willing to express that, is that generosity? Yes, Vetrivel ji.
Amazing topic. I would like to share two things. One is, in what way we can be generous, please,
Yep.
to start with.
Yeah.
One thing comes to my mind is, stop listening to that negative thought which says, don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It happened recently, 2 days back. One of the guy called me, and before 2-3 months, he's a nice guy, good friend, and he hid some information where he is joining, something, of course, because of some fear, but I was not happy. And so he suddenly calls me, asks for some very important information, and like I love to give. But suddenly thought comes that this guy is like hiding something and evading, and suddenly when he wants something, he is coming back. Are you going to give? Then I went one step ahead. No, that is not. I've been trying to fund. I will give whatever it takes. Then I have given what my mind says, genuinely, what's supposed to be given. I have given. He's so happy. Then after that, he spoke little, he went away. But that act of going beyond one step from my mental negative talk, I feel like it's a generosity, and after that I felt very happy.
Okay.
That is one thing. The second thing, if I want to share from my bookish knowledge, which I have been studying very seriously, this generosity is the one of the nature power of truth or consciousness.
Yeah.
And we are accepting or not, that is our nature. What comes in between is see our own judgment, our mind, which trying to be very secure. There is a wall inside. If we are able to go beyond that wall, or we are able to make that wall transparent, life will start to obviously so. So we are that. What stopping is not we are not. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And look at the different forms that generosity can take. You know, when you keep a promise, you're being generous to yourself and the other person also. Okay. When you return what you have borrowed, what do you think that is? See, if you're being selfish, you will not return what you borrowed, no? So the opposite of selfish is generosity. If you consider that, then how many actions are available to you today as an act of generosity? You know,
Not
one
many.
act of,
Not many.
yeah. So why don't you tell us about one or two of them that you will practice today?
Okay, so obviously, as I've just learned, and I had that thought in the beginning, as I shared, that selflessly giving not only everything, not only money, but your good feelings, your good gestures, your good, maybe some thoughts. So I would be generous today by being more polite. I will be generous by being not judging people around. I would be more generous by, by being thinking in a different manner than by not expecting, every time from people around me or to whomever I'm talking. So I'll be more generous in terms of my gestures, my politeness, my thinking about or judging about them.
All right, very nice. Thank you very much. Yes, Shakti. After that, Sagar. First Shakti, then Sagar. Yes.
Morning, sir. Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, sir. I was on and off this conversation, sir, due to network issues. I heard the conversation half phase, like I need to drop the expectations and judgments. But when I'm practicing it, it's not easy, sir. So just to drop it, but it's not that easy because that's what I experienced. So today I will be in this question, and then I try to drop the judgments about people, situations.
Yeah. See, I'll
what
give
is
you an
coming.
example. Very nice. Thank you, Shakti. I'll give you an example, all right? Somebody came to me with something that they are doing, and it's very good for a lot of people, okay? And they said, sir, why don't you become a part of it? And the amount they were asking was some 20,000 rupees or something, all right? So my first reaction was, oh, yes, it's a wonderful thing that he's doing. I should support it. What this man is doing in this world is something which should be supported. If I support him, many people will get support. But the moment I did that, another voice is telling me, but Sukhdeepak, how would it help you? You're already established. You're noticing? So my heart is saying, be generous. Now I have a choice always. Should I listen to my heart or should I listen to my head, whose only job is to be protective? Protective is selfish, no? I mean, don't be absurd also. I mean, if you got only 20,000 in the bank, would you give it to him? Probably not, because you need to pay your bills and everything, right? But if you're sitting on good amount of money, and there is a possibility that by, being generous, you're contributing to a larger purpose. Then you have a choice. Should I listen to my head or should I listen to my heart? So a lot of generous people, they have this, dilemma sometimes. Kashmakash, karu, na karu. And then you may choose to listen to your heart. Or you may listen to your head. Choice is yours. But one way of going opens up doors to receiving. The other way shuts down and creates walls to receiving. Right? Yes. First Sagar and then Shanti. Go ahead, Sagar.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So I am going to be generous to myself and to my parents. To myself, I think the thing that are going to be beneficial in terms of my health and in terms of my financial, and to my parents, listening to them what they want, and also to the society, like to my school. I'm going all this. I'm going to teach some yoga and something.
Yeah. Good idea to be generous to people who have been generous to you also, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much for sharing. Yes, Shanti ji.
Sir, when we are possibility seekers, we should also think that others are also possibility seekers.
Okay.
So when we get the possibility, we should see to that others also should get the possibility.
Yeah, you can help other people to see possibility. Did you hear what Neeti was sharing? Did you listen to Neeti's sharing?
Yes, sir. But
what did she say?
She said that you are a possibility seeker. You are generous. Whenever she talks to you, she feels this generosity.
Because she sees a new possibility. See, so when you talk to people, if you're able to show them or help them to see some new possibility, that is also an act of generosity. Na?
Yes.
See, Shanti ji, every time you share here, that's an act of generosity also. When you say something, right? Have you noticed something? There are two kinds of speaking. One is that I am speaking so that people will be impressed with me. That's not an act of generosity. Right? The act of generosity is I don't care what people think about me. I will say something which makes a difference to everybody and shows possibilities to other people. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So you are bold, right? You are courageous. You say with the intention of contributing to others, don't you? That time you are being generous only. And you're showing possibility. So when somebody shares, others are seeing some possibility in that. No? When
Yes.
anybody shares over here, the other people are thinking, oh yeah, I can also do like that. Or if somebody is sharing about a mistake that they made, then you can also say, no, I should not make the same mistake. So that's why I say sharing is an act of generosity. So thanks for sharing, Shantiji.
Thank you, sir.
All right, now let's have Sagar has done very well. Go ahead.
Sir, on a lighter note, today's my act of generosity is going to be, I'm going to say everyone, I love you. About close people, I will say verbally, unknown people, I will say silently. To start with, I love you, sir. I love you, everyone here.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Sakshiji, I'm not going to ask you to share today because time is running out and we have to close the session. And we have some things which are ritual now. We have to do those rituals. Kamalji, first you, no, very well. Since you are already talking, why don't you share some Tirukural about generosity today?
Sir, I have prepared, very sorry.
You don't have one. All right. So Kamal, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning all.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir, for another beautiful session of generosity. And we're doing it every day. And yes, I agree that listening is one of the generosity which we can do to the people. शायरी की बात है तो एक शायरी थी कि मंजिलें क्या है रास्ता क्या है, मंजिलें क्या है रास्ता क्या है, हौसला है तो फासला क्या है, जब भी चाहेगा छीन लेगा वो, सब उसी का है आपका क्या है.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you, thank you. Would
Thank
you
you,
like to translate it also?
No, sir. Translation शायद कुरेन सर कर सकें.
हाँ जी, कन्नन साहब आप ट्रांसलेशन कर दीजिए. या वेंकटेश जी भी कर सकते हैं, बहुत अच्छा ट्रांसलेट करते हो. Anyway, you decide who wants to translate.
I request Venkatesh to do it, please.
It'd be nice.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
You
Yeah,
say
Lavan, line by line, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
मंजिलें क्या है रास्ता क्या है,
Destination, what is the destination or the road?
हौसला है तो फासला क्या है.
If you have the hope in you, then the distance doesn't matter. No, the hardships doesn't matter.
If you have the determination in you.
Determination in you.
जब भी चाहेगा छीन लेगा वो.
What?
जब भी चाहेगा छीन लेगा वो.
Yeah, whenever he requires, he just snatches away from you.
सब उसी का है आपका क्या है.
Everything is his, nothing is yours. You don't have everything. You just have faith in him. So you have the faith.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your shairi and thank you for the translation also. So Kunal ji, over to you.
जी जनाब, मैंने अर्ज किया है कि तुम तो अपने हो, वेंकटेश जी ट्रांसलेट कीजिएगा कि तुम तो अपने हो, तुम्हें दिल से निकालें कैसे.
You are ours, you are mine, and how can I take you out of the heart?
तुम तो अपने हो, तुम्हें दिल से निकालें कैसे, हम तो दुश्मन को भी घर में नहीं, हम तो दुश्मन को भी बेघर नहीं होने देते.
We will not make the enemies also homeless. We give them a place, even our enemies too. How can I expel you from the heart when you are our own man?
तुम तो अपने हो, तुम्हें दिल से निकालें कैसे, हम तो दुश्मन को भी बेघर नहीं होने देते.
Over there.
Beautiful.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Right. तुम तो अपने हो, you belong to me. How can I remove you from my heart?
You are always, you own my heart, like you own my heart. So when we are so accommodative to even our enemies, we don't see them homeless. So there's a little place for even the enemies. So you are there always, forever yours.
Yeah, so forever yours, with you, for you, always, like Delhi
Always.
police.
Yeah.
So remember that that's who we are for you. All right.
Yes.
The empowering morning
We
conversation.
are all for each other.
Right. So thank you for being there for each other. And I'll see you again tomorrow morning. God bless you. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Sandeep.
God bless everyone.
Yeah.